So we're going to have a look at how to find Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient on the computer. So this is a type of correlation for linear data. So it gives us a quantitative or numerical value for the relationship between two variables where we think that the relationship is linear, so a straight line either up or down. So I've got my two variables here. I've got the number of points that people scored per game and then the league position that they finished. And we're going to see if there's any correlation. So on this one, I'm thinking that this one is my x variable, my independent, and this one is my y variable, my dependent variable, because the number of points per game is going to affect where the team finishes in the league. So to work out the Pearson's correlation, we're going to be using these formulas here. So the first one, this is the overall formula. So R is equal to Sxy over Sx times Sy. And then to find out what those three things are, these are the formulas we're going to be using. So we've got the sum of x squared, the sum of y squared, the means of the x and y, and we've got the sum of the x, the sum of the y, and the sum of the xy. So these are all the different things that I need to be able to find. So that's what I can use my spreadsheets to find me. So the first one is I need to find x squared. So when you put this in your IA, we want to make sure that they're labelled more appropriately than this. They shouldn't really be labelled in terms of like with the up arrow, but we can do them on here for now. And then we're going to have y squared, and then we're going to need the column for x times y. So for x squared, we can do equals, and we want the x value times, which is star, the x value again. And then we can drag that value down by clicking the blue button. And we should always double check our answers. So if we check this one, yeah, 6 times 6. This one is doing 0 times 0, and so on. And we can do the same for the y squared. So equals, and this time we want the y value times by the y value. And then again, we're going to just drag that down. And we can just double check our values. So just picking a few different ones throughout. Yeah. And then we need to do x times y. So we're going to do equals, and we want the x value times by the y value. And again, we're just going to drag that down. So it's going to work out all of your numbers much quicker than you doing it on the calculator by hand. So I've now got all my values for the different columns that I know I need. So this row here is going to be the totals for each of those columns. So I need to do the equals, and this time I want to find the sum, and it's already suggesting it, but I can just double check it's highlighted the right area. It's not actually B3 we want to go from, so I can actually change that to B4 just so that it's highlighting the numbers. And then again I can do this one, equals sum, open the brackets, and I can just click and drag, and I can do that for each of these. So it's just a quicker way to add up all of the information in the columns. Oops. So these values here are the ones that I need for my formula. So if it asks me for the sum of x, then that's 68. And the sum of y is 210. The sum of x squared is 340. The sum of y squared is 2,870. And the sum of xy is 560. So each of these are the sums that are found here. And this is that sigma notation for sum. I also needed the mean of x and the mean of y, so I'm going to have to calculate that as well. And we know that that's equal to the sum of the values divided by how many I've got. So for the mean of x, that's equal to the sum of the values divided by, and I can see here I've got 20 pieces of data. So the mean is 3.4. You can also work that out as equals average, and then we can select the column that we want to find the average out, and we get the same value. And then we're going to need to do the same for the mean of y. So you can do it either way, it doesn't matter. So either average or using the sum and dividing it by how many you've got. It's a good idea to do it both ways and just double check. And then you've got 10.5. So now that we've got the mean of x and the mean of y and all the totals from each of the columns, we've got everything we need to then substitute them into the formula. So in the IA you would need to show this working, so sort of tidying this up and copying it in, and then you would need to show how you've substituted it in to find the R value by hand. You can also double check the Pearson's correlation using the functions built into the spreadsheet. So we can do equals and then correlation, and you'll see it comes up Pearson product moment correlation coefficient, and then you can select your first set of data and then comma, select your second set of data, and then that gives you the overall value, so you can double check that the results that you're getting give you that same value.